Hi everyone! Welcome to another edition of High Masterclass. This time for our High Masterclass number 59. And today we have our always special guest, David Marques. He is here with us. Hi, David. How are
Okay.
you?
Hello. I'm well,
Oh,
thank you.
okay. And yeah, we are excited to start this high masterclass. Today we are talking about using AI to avoid legacy software. David is here to tell you all about it. And yeah, with that said, let me just say the things that I do always. You can drop us a question on the comment section of this video. If you have any type of question that may come up during the presentation, you can ask them on the comment section. Me, David, or anyone at iInteractive will be more than happy to answer all of your questions. And yeah, please don't forget to drop us a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are preparing more content like this, and it is coming up to you soon. And David has also wrote an article about this topic. You can scan the QR code over there, or you can check the link in the description of this video. With that said, David, what do you feel that the ones watching at home will get from this masterclass?
So I think it's a mainstream. Today everyone talk about AI. Today everyone wants to use AI and decided how to use it. And one of the main subjects and the features that this type of AI coding brings to our teams is reduce the legacy. How we can reduce the legacy systems, in this case, legacy software. And the subjects for today will be about this topic. I will share my opinion and also how we do it at iInteractive. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So, legacy systems. Legacy systems, I don't know if you have an idea, but today legacy systems consume more than 50% of IT budgets. It's difficult to find these metrics, okay? But in my opinion, it's 90%, okay? But the articles, the things that we read and our experience say that it's more than 50%. And AI coding, it's here to help us to reduce this type of issue, the legacy systems. Let's start to talk about what is legacy, what legacy means. Legacy is not simple old software. This is the main point, the main thing, that when we are talking about legacy systems, we are talking about old software. Okay, starts from old software, but it's not about only old software. A system becomes legacy when the mainstreaming, it costs more than of the value that delivers. What this means that you have a software that you use or multi applications, but the applications don't return the right value, don't accelerate your business. Every small change requires disproportionate effort. So when you want to do something, the value or the cost of to change something, it doesn't return the value that you want to achieve. Critical knowledge lives in one person or no one. So someone that developed this type of software, this feature, and it's not anymore in our team. The business adapts to the software and not the software to the business. Okay, this happens a lot. So have in mind that when you are talking about legacy systems, legacy software is not about only the application. It's about the things that lives around the application. Okay, the users, the business, the costs to maintain this software. The real costs of legacy sometimes is hidden, or every time it's hidden. development effort is just the beginning. When we are talking about the cost of development, the cost of bring new features to our software, it's not the real cost. It's only the beginning, because after that you need to improve, you need to maintain, you need to increase other features. Okay, so slower time to market. This means that if I want to deploy a new feature to the market, to my clients, how much time I need to deploy this feature. So this is one type of legacy. The higher operational risk, dependency on skills. So if I had this type of skills in my team, if it's hard to find these skills in the markets, the growing gap between what the system does and what the business needs. So it's not only about developed software, it's about the dependencies that this type of software, this type of technology has to our business. Okay. Reusing code libraries where only 10% of its resources are truly used. This is the main subject for today, and where the AI brings a lot of value. So we can divide before AI and after AI. And before AI, reusing libraries and adopting low code or no code platforms were the way. One of the main strategies to reduce development costs. If I reuse something that is already developed and add something on top, customize to my brand, to my business, I reduce a lot of effort. But these have another pain point. So using only part of this code. I will share some examples with you. Think about the UI libraries. It's our business interface, so it's simple for me to explain the idea to reuse the UI library. So I will use CandyUI, probably one of the biggest and better UI libraries in the markets. I adopt CandyUI to build my design systems and to use in my interfaces. I will develop an application based on CandyUI components. CandyUI have a lot of components that do a lot of things, almost everything that we need. But imagine that I'm using 20 components in my application, but the CandyUI have 100 components, more than 100 components. And I'm also using a data grid component, and the data grid components have 1,000 features. In my application, I only use 1 or 2% of the features, the entire CandyUI. But this means that I need to maintain the entire CandyUI. For example, in the next month, in the data grid, we found an issue, a security issue or a security feature, an issue in the CandyUI. But the new CandyUI version already have this issue fixed. I need to update all CandyUI. This means that I need to update all my application. But on top of my application, I have a design system. So I customized all components from CandyUI. This means to fix an issue, I need to upgrade CandyUI and also review all my design systems, entire design system. So the cost of accelerating the beginning, so I have a lot of components to reuse, probably in the end, in this type of situations, it's not a benefit. Okay, so we need to think about today, if I want to build from scratch, if I want to reuse a library or a platform or no-code platform or a low-code platform. So this is the wall. This is the breaking point before and after AI. And we'll talk about this in the next seconds, in the next slides. So how to reduce AI, to use AI, to reduce unused code. Continuing the subject. The guideline is principle exchange. Before reuse as much as possible. So if you are building something some years ago, the first decision is reuse a platform, reuse a library, reuse code libraries. Now think first to build from scratch, okay, and take a decision. Build from scratch using AI, probably still slower than reuse a UI library or a code library, but after the development, to maintain this type of software, to maintain my systems, can be expensive comparing building from scratch, okay? Because you only use your code. You don't need to maintain the other 90%, okay? So with AI, unused code is no longer an inevitable cost. You can decide. In the beginning, you can have, in some cases, more costs, but in the end, your business, your software will be flexible, agile, updated. You don't depend the other external code, okay? So I said maintain so many times. Let's talk about what means maintaining codes. Maintaining codes, for who had already the experience of a software house, so had an application, multiple applications, maintain these applications to our clients, already knows what means really maintain, okay? So, and maintain, it's keeping the systems aligned with the requirements that never stop changing. When we deploy the first version of our application, we still to maintain the application. It's needed to upgrade the application. Security updates, it's common. It's, if you are using external libraries, no code platforms, low code platforms, it's common to need to be updated regular issues, okay, and security issues, because our code is frozen, but the libraries that we are using are public. I know it, how hacking guys know this type of code, know the foundation of these codes, and they are stealing to try to find the gap and the security issue, okay? So if our code is known by other people, by other communities, we are exposed to security updates. I can say, for example, everyone knows if you are using WordPress, you need to update WordPress every day, okay? Because the plugins are external plugins, are open source code, and every day we have new updates to ensure the security. SEO compliance, everyone knows that the SEO is changing, and you need to upgrade and add new features and adjust that adjustments to our interface, in this case for websites, for B2C. Performance optimization, we have new device, we have new browsers, and we need to be aligned with this type of software and hardware. Accessibility standards, for European guys, know that in the recently months, in recently years, we have this type of compliance. It's not rules, it's about law, and we need to ensure the compliance in terms of accessibility. You need to upgrade, you need to be flexible to upgrade faster, okay? And also new device compatibility. Every year we have new mobile versions, new computers, new displays, so we need to be ready to update our software, our applications to this type of new challenge. When to build from the scratch or reuse code, pre-built codes. This is not a timeline, a rule, okay? Every feature, every project, every team face this type of challenge, and the answer depends of your business, essential of your business. But let me explain some points. How much will it cost to build? So in the first moment, I need to build this software. How much costs? How much costs to maintain? And the first decision is easier. How much does custom to build is easier to think, but how much cost to maintain sometimes is forgotten. Okay, you need to think about the future. How much flexibility do you need? So it's something that it's closed. Is that and this feature, or it's something that you need to add new features, add new modules, do adjustments. It's easier, for example, for B2C projects, we know that we need this type of flexibility. For B2E projects, it's easier to manage the new features, okay? What experience do you have in your team, or do you find in the market? So when you decide for something open code or pre-built codes or closed code or no-code platforms, you need to evaluate the market, the knowledge that exists in the market to find this help when you need. Who guarantees the security and long-term support? One of the main reasons for enterprise software these sites adopt no-code or low-code platforms, it's because the security, the maintainability, typically it's for a third party, okay? So open source is not so easier to adapt for enterprise software, but in my opinion, will be the future using AI. When to choose open source? So to be explicit in terms of open source, gives you exactly what you need and nothing you don't. So the 10% of the code, not the 100%. You need to use, in my perspective, you need to choose open source when the project is complexity or customization requirements are one of the main points. For example, for B2C, to have a great user experience, in my perspective, open source the right choice. Full ownership of every dependency. So reduce the dependency. When you choose open source, you have the capability to reduce the dependency. If you choose low code, no code, UI libraries, you will depend on it. This means that you will have legacy in your systems because you don't have the flexibility to move when you want and when you need. No unused code to maintain. This means legacy. So you only have code for your features. You don't need to have code from your other features that you don't use. When a long-term legacy reduction outweighs the initial build costs. So this means that I can start faster, I can build faster, but I have a long-term to maintain my project. So think about that. So if you want to choose a no-code platform or a reuse code, think about that you will depend on it. It's not your timeline, it's their timeline. When to use pre-built codes. So it's the other side. AI enable you to be flexible, but pre-built code, it's faster on the beginning. So if you have a simple and well-defined requirements, if you have a simple project, a closed project that you know it's to do that and this and that and this, okay? So this means that you have a control of everything in the beginning. Little or small customization, if you don't want to implement other things out of the box. So your base core already have the 90% of the features. If you don't need to apply your brain rules, you don't need to apply your design systems, you don't build to a specific user experience. And also when you are aligned with the well documentation behavior. So if you start the project with everything with the right alignment, everything well defined. It's difficult today. And also the ownership. So the use calls from your side, it's the main goal. So you need to deliver the features to the third party, not for you, and you only want to use the third party features. So think about Tourism. Think about open code. It's to use AI. So the AI capabilities, pre-built codes, closed codes, term doesn't mean well, but low-code platforms, no-code platforms, it's don't use AI because you don't have the right features of AI-driven developments can give you. Okay, you can have platforms that are using AI, but still their features. It's not enabled to you do everything. Okay, the open source enable to you do everything in your timeline. And also, the great irony of legacy is that the front end need to change faster and is easier. Okay, age quickly. The back end age more slowly. Don't need to change faster. It's slower in terms of features. If you think about, don't depend of device, don't depend of SEO, don't depend of performance, yes, but don't depend of interface and user. So in the first moment you think, okay, probably we have more legacy. It's common to find legacy in the front end and not in back end, because the front end had more technologies, more new versions, more device, more things to achieve. But the reality is that typically, because the backends have more business rules in the code, it's hard to change. So it's in the end, because it's hard to change, it's where we find legacy in our clients. So the front end, we can suggest new approach, new ways of doing. It's easier to change. The back end, it's more slowly, but it's where we find typically legacy code or more legacy code. And to finish, how and when update legacy? This is hard to answer because there is no calendar for legacy upgrades. There are decision points, so you don't have a plan. Okay, you don't need do a planification to upgrades. It's more in certain type of points that I will explain. The software needs to be prepared for. This is the main goal. Maintain and achieve flexibility enough to absorb constant change. So your project need to be agile, need to be to have the flexibility to change. Obviously, everyone's talk about atomic development. Everyone's talk about the modularity of software. It's this type of guidelines, but the mainstream is my software, it's agile. Okay, this means that, for example, one of the main features that AI brings for us is the way to change software. It's faster than ever. To understand what the software have and to understand the architecture, it's faster than ever. So try to be agile in terms of change, in terms of compatibility to change the software. Minimize the external dependencies, maximize the code reuse. This means that when you have dependencies, external dependencies in your software, we use libraries, you use a low-code platform, this means that you don't have the agility to change. It's not your time, it's their time. Okay. Upgrade when the costs of not acting exceeds the costs of change. So sometimes you need to update. You need to take the decision if the update I will do have the right benefits for the software. Sometimes not. Sometimes need to be. And to resume, we have two common decision points, in my perspective, in my experience. Security audits. So you need to plan security audits in your software, a monthly, a year, it depends. And try to find and evaluate the security issue that you find to be a decision if need to be updated or not. Typically, for example, if we find a security issue, we need to decide how much cost the fix the security. If we have open source, 100% open source from my side is easier because it's easier to fix the line or the file. It's only that code. If my dependencies from external code, it's not about that line. It's about the entire library, entire components that are used in an entire software. Okay, so that's why the AI brings to us the capability to have 100% of our code, not only 10 and 19 from external that we don't use. And also new feature implementation, this other decision point where we can upgrade our software. So if I want to build a new feature, I can take a decision to upgrade the entire software, to upgrade the entire dependencies, okay? And that's it, guys, for today. So only to resume, AI, it's a breaking point. Before AI, we reuse a lot of code. So try reuse is the main goal. Today, we can think about don't reuse and build from scratch, but still be helpful to reuse code. But we can try to take a decision. It's better or not, thinking about the future. In the first moment, it's easier to choose build from scratch or to choose reuse code. But take a decision, have in mind after the first deploy, because after the first deploy, we have the maintenance, and the maintenance sometimes it's hardest when we have external dependencies.
For sure. And thanks, David, for this brilliant presentation. As always, another brilliant masterclass about AI. And I'm sure that the ones at home really took good insights from your words. With that said, David, let me just talk to the ones at home. If you have any type of question, as I've said in the beginning, you can drop it on the comment section of this video. Me, David, or anyone at Interactive will be more than happy to answer all of your questions. And yeah, don't forget to check David's article. Don't forget to drop us a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And me and David, we may come up on the next time masterclass or on the other one. Who knows? For sure, David will be back. And yeah, next month we have another one. Let's see who is the guest of that high masterclass. And until then, stay with this one, stay with our interactive, and see you soon. Bye bye.
Bye guys, thank you.